Okay, we're going live for the second day trying to build this smart trader application, which will track all of our trades and give us all the different statistics we want, give us an active portfolio, which will tell us how the portfolio is doing. Obviously delayed a little bit using the Yahoo Finance API, but the core purpose of it is to understand how our trades are working, how our process is working to get those statistics. So that's all really important. And then being able to go back and, and improve on the process where we went wrong, how to up our batting average, get better average wins, less average losses, etc. So the kind of blueprint for this was let me pull this over here, share my screen, was this Excel spreadsheet I kind of just put together, which basically had, a ledger where we would put in all our trade data, date, buy or sell, ticker, shares, price. If we wanted to put whether or not it was above the 50-day simple moving average, 200-day, which had to be done manually. This will be done automatically. And then if we wanted to put the kind of base pattern or shaper pattern, and then the tactical pattern. So all this was done manually in Excel the way I used to do it. And then it would produce an active portfolio, which I think Excel uses Google Finance for this. But either way, so it gives you a nice kind of up-to-date how your portfolio would be doing. But most importantly, for me anyway, would be trade statistics. So, and again, all this had to be done manually and then flow between the tabs. But I was interested in getting a lot of these numbers. So like batting percentage or batting average, what percent wins and loss, what was the average gain by percent, by dollar amount, and then the impact on the portfolio for each trade, which I thought was important. And then you could have your realized gain loss, which would come from this page. Unrealized gain loss would come from the active portfolio. And then, you could kind of get a total here. So all this I thought was important. And then to have an equity curve here, which you could kind of track. And of course, you always kind of want to keep your equity curve, going from the bottom left to the top right to the best of your ability. So that is kind of the reason for this. And then I need to save that. And then we've got, let me just pull up the Figma. Where is put this over here. Okay, and then this was the Figma I designed, which was kind of the color scheme and kind of the basic layout we're going to try and use. This would be the current portfolio. This would be kind of where we would add a trade. Update a trade would be, similar in case you put it in wrong, you could update it. And then you'd get all your different trade statistics. So this is kind of the layout and the color scheme I was thinking about using. So went over all that. And then last week we got all the put this down and let me get to the one last thing, which is the actual code. Let's just do the entire screen here. And so we got basically the entire backend done. There may be some little bit of, changes we need to make on the model or something, but, basically we went through, we built out the model. So we're going to take in from the user a ticker, the date, which I got figured out during the week, buy or sell, number of shares, the price, and then those are all required. Oops, that is going to need require, yeah. And then if they want to put in a shaper pattern and a tactical pattern. And then on the front end, we'll create a front end validation as well that kind of like won't let them click the submit button unless all the requirements have been met, then they can submit. And of course, like I said, they don't need to do this if they don't want to. So that was all created. We're going to take timestamps. Then we've got all the controllers set up. Yeah, so create a trade. So add a new one, get all trades, get one trade based on the trade ID, edit a trade, delete one trade. And then we were just created a dictionary to export this trade controller to our routes. And so then we imported that here and then, created the routes that we can then access I'm going to use Axios on the front end to target these routes. And then we went over the .env. And then I guess we'll just take a look at our server. So here we imported again, using Express for the server, cores for the middleware, .env, which is this file down here, DB Connect, we're using the Mongo database, and then we import our router from routes, and we kind of went over all this. So all good here. We tested it in Postman, so everything's working. I did put in a couple stocks during the week just so we won't have to add a bunch of stuff. But now we're going to start building out the front end of the application. So everything in the back end should be good. Again, we might need to make some minor changes on the model or something, or if we decide we need a different route, we could do that as well. And then let's just fire up these. PM run. Okay. And then, all we did is just kind of put this little H1 tag in here to just show that, okay, cool, our front end's working. But now we want to make sure that the database is actually working with the front end. And then from there, we can start building out sort of the front end skeleton. So let's do, so thinking through all the different things we would need based off of the Figma and the Excel spreadsheet, I'll go ahead and make all the views and components and all that. Just do that just so we have them all set up and ready to go. And then, whoops, that way, that's all set and ready to go. And we can just have those, and it's easier to import them and we won't break anything. And we'll use the, actually, let's set up real quick. Let's do the, because we already installed our dependencies. We're not going to need this here, but we will need import. Going to need this is from the, what is it, React router DOM. So we're going to get the browser router, the routes, and the route. I'm going to get that from React router DOM. So we want that in here. We are going to, don't think we'll need anything else yet until we build out the actual view components. So let's just, I'm just going to leave this here for, well, actually, no, we take this out. So here we're going to put in the browser router. Oh, geez, of course. Why wouldn't it do that? There we go. Okay, whoops. So browser router here, and then we're going to have our routes here, and then we'll have our route. So we'll just do kind of like the homepage route. So just do route. Then we need the path, which will just be index, and the element will be, guess we'll just call this dashboard. It's fine. So this will be the actual home page that we hit. We can do that. That gets a little confusing with the different, and then that and that. Okay, there we go. All right, so that'll be our home, and now we'll need to create. Now let's go ahead and create the different views we'll need. So I guess we'll just go in order here. So we made this little one, but I'll go ahead and let's just, well, we can leave that for now, but I think we're going to end up deleting that. So we're definitely going to need a dashboard, which will be our home page. We're going to need, I guess just we'll call it add trade. Going to need the current portfolio. And the nice thing about React is we can use these different components. Like I think the current portfolio will also show up on the dashboard, and we can just easily import the components. So that'll be, should be pretty simple to do. We're going to want the equity curve eventually. We're going to want the to-do page. We're going to want the trade ledger. Trade ledger, trade stats. We're gonna have an update trade in case somebody enters it wrong. Update trade.jsx. And then we'll have the nav bar, which will just pop into components here, which this will just show up on every page the same. So we'll just call it nav bar. Okay, great. So we have all these. Let's close these down for now. And then what we can do is we'll just copy. I don't know if we'll need use state on everything, but just so we have something to export. Just get rid of all this for right now. And this will be called dashboard. And then we will export this. Okay, great. And we'll just copy this over to the different files. Is there a space here? Oh, weird. Oh, let's start with add trade so we don't mess this up. Paste that in. Add trade. Good. So all we're doing is setting these up so that we can import them on the app.jsx without breaking anything. Dashboard we already did. Equity curve. So we're just creating the component and then we're just exporting the component here. Equity curve. Show all trades we did to do. Trade ledger. Oops. Oh, shoot. Trade stats is done, and then update trade. Okay. We got to do the nav bar real quick. Update. All right, so we got all that, and then we'll just do the nav bar. Then we can get all our routes set up on app.jsx, and then we won't have to worry about that all being done. Okay, nav bar, dashboard. Okay, now we're gonna have to import all these, so. Okay, all right, so we'll just go through them here. Let's see, import. Maybe we'll go by, see if this works, or it's gonna, oh no, it's gonna make me. What we could do is just, oops. Just use this little sneaky guy, and then so dashboard, and then we've got add trade, and you can just use, I don't know what it is on, maybe it's Alt on other computers, but Option on Mac to do current portfolio. What else we got? Equity curve. Trade ledger, we got trade stats. Update trade and nav bar. Okay. Navbar. I think that's everything we'll need. And then we're going to want to pop the navbar in here, which we won't need to pass anything into. We may need to pass some stuff into these components, but we'll see. For right now, just copy these down. Maybe one more. Okay. So we'll just, now these should be a little faster. Okay, we'll add trade. What do we got up here? Let me add trade, current portfolio. Okay, good. A little quicker. Equity curve to do. Trade ledger, trade stats. Trade ledger. Got to make sure not to call it trade state, or that would probably trade stats. And then update trade. Okay. And we won't need this one. Okay, so this is basically how we're going to navigate through the application and be able to target all these different components and be able to route through them. And then the nav bar can just go up here because this one's not going to change. So this will show up then. If we put it here, it'll show up on every page, which is great. And then we just need to give these actual routes. So these will be the paths that will show up, in the, like in the browser bar up here. Let's call this add current, just call this equity curve. To do maybe, I guess. We'll just call this ledger. I don't need to type out stats and update. Okay, great. So now everything, oh, we got something broke here. Nav. Oh, yep, because this is not here. Okay, because the nav bar is saved not in our views not in our views folder, but our components. So I just was copying that down. Import nav bar. Oh, geez. Import nav bar from components navbar. There we go. Now everything should be good. Okay, great. Page reloaded, everything good on the back end, front end. I probably should have done this before, but I think what we'll do here is just put like a little H1 tag for everything, so we know that they're all showing up okay. At trade. Well, let's just worry about what we're going to do. So I think probably today we'll probably just get through adding trades, looking at all trades, which will basically be the ledger, and then maybe updating and deleting the trades from the ledger. I don't know if we'll get into the logic, but maybe if we can get all that and then get some of the, the table built and some of the CSS and all that. I'm not using any kind of library or framework for the CSS as of right now. I think it'd be more fun to just try and like build it on my own because I don't really love CSS, and I think that'd be good practice. And then, if someone wants to change it and use Bootstrap or what's the other one, Tailwinds or whatever, can always do that too. So add trade. Yeah, so we'll just focus on. Okay, so we'll worry about add trade. I guess we'll need the dashboard because that's kind of important. Dashboard. Trade ledger. Whoops. And I guess that's probably all we'll need right now, because the current portfolio will be a little more difficult because we'll need the API for that. And I don't think we'll do that till next week because it's going to take a little while to go through. All right, so we've got trade ledger. We'll keep that open, close dashboard. We'll come back to add trade. So here in the trade ledger, oh, and let's create a couple links so I don't have to keep going back and forth. I can just make this a little simpler. I feel like I have one somewhere I can use. Oh yeah, okay, so we can just use the, all right, let's see. So on the dashboard, because this will be our home page, we'll create 2 links. So we're going to use the capital link for this, which we'll need to import in 1 second. We won't give it a class name for right now. We're just going to say 2, of course. Why would that work? 2/add, and then we'll say add a trade. And then we'll have another link that will go to ledger. And we'll say ledger. Let's get rid of this, make this cleaner to look at. All right, let's see if this shows up on our front end here. Nope. Let's see. Oh, because I didn't import link, which I just said we need to do. So we're going to import, and then the link comes from, oh, the React router DOM, I believe. All right. Okay, there we go. Cool. Let's maybe create a little space there. Rather than getting into all CSS, I'll just use, oh, that's not going to work either. You know what, let's pop these in buttons real quick. All right, well, at least we can see they're different. That's fine for right now. Okay, so now we've got on here, which is pretty cool. So now we can go to add trade, and you can see it brought us to the add trade page. Ledger takes to the trade ledger. So those these links here, all you have to do is do kind of the route here, and it's going to match to whatever the route is right here. And then you'll also see up here, you can see it takes us to add, back to the index, kind of homepage, and then the ledger here. So that works great. That's awesome. Now let's go ahead and do a get all. Oh, I did want to do, I am going to put the Axios stuff in its own like services folder. So let me just, because what we did here, this show all trades. So we put the Axios call, get call right here. Or request, I guess, technically, using use effect. So we're still going to use this use effect, except we're going to put all of this Axios stuff into its own file and import it, similar to how we're going to do with all our functionality. We'll put in its own like utilities folder or utils folder. That way it's accessible across the application. We don't have to keep like copying and pasting and having more code than like is really necessary. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. So that's going to be in our source folder. Going to do what is happening. Source, new folder. And this will just be called services. Nope, didn't spell that right. Services. Okay, and we'll just call it stop service.jsx. Okay, so that will go in here. And then this way too, we only have to import Axios here. So Axios we did install as a dependency back when we did all the setup. Okay, so Axios, so we're going to import Axios from Axios. Love when that happens automatically. And then we're going to create this const HTTP. So just an instance here of this is the create. And this way we can have, and we set the base URL to, and so this will be like our local host / API. And I'll go back and look at why we're doing the API thing. HTTP / local host. We're using 8000 / API. I think that should be good. Then, and let me just review real quick why we're doing the API. So if we go back to the backend here in the server, oops, not here, on the server.js, you can see when we did the .use, we put in API, excuse me, and then router. And then router was, so what it's basically saying is like /API and then / whatever the route is. So /API in here, then /trade /add. So that's how that is set up. And that's why we need that on the stock service to have the /API, and then it'll be / whatever route we're going to target. So then we can create the functions here. So like a get all stocks, for instance. Get all, okay, yep. So it's just a function here. Pass this in, and then we're going to return. Return, and then the HTTP, which is the base URL, and then the GET request, and then what we want to target. So trades. And if we need to go back in here, let's actually open this up. So get all trades, see a /trades here. So we just need to make sure it hits. We need to make sure these all line up. So, and then here we can do our .then. Oh, geez, let me think. Response. And then, yeah, response.data. And then our catch. Catch. And here's where we put the error. And then we're going to throw it. So this will throw it. I'll show you in a second. This will throw the error to the front. Do I have everything? Yeah. Okay. Great. So I'm just going to do that one for now. I am going to create, I do like doing this where I make a, because there's two ways you could, because there's going to be a function for it, like add a trade, update a trade, delete a trade, all that kind of stuff. So we're going to have a, because the other option here is, so get all stocks, copy. So I'm basically just creating a key value, so an object here, and then going to export the entire object, export default stock. Because the other way you could do this is you could export this, and then like, let's say on the get all here, you could up here, or you could in here deconstruct what you needed from this page, right? So like, you know, like const, and then do the, and like whatever you wanted out of here. So like get all trades, let's say, and then equals stock service and import stock service and all that good stuff. But I prefer to just, and maybe it's just like a Python thing. The same reason I like to do it that way is just, I like to import, actually, let me save this. I like to import stock service and then just use dot notation. It's just, I don't know, I find it to be a lot easier. So I can just do stock.service, stock service dot, and then whatever I need on any component, rather than making sure for each component I only import, or I only deconstruct the like one I need, and then I got to go back and I'm like, why don't I have it? If I import stock service and use the dot notation by setting it up as an object here, I just find that a lot easier for me anyway to use. So you can do it either way. Whatever's preferable, it doesn't really matter. Let's just do the, well, I guess while we're here, let's do the add stock. So function, so here, this will be our post request function, add one stock. And then here we will have to pass in the stock object in here, right? So that way we can tell the database, well, the server to send what to the database. So then we'll return again. This will be http.post because it's a post request, and we got to make sure we know where it's going. create new trade is trade/add. So it'll be trade or trades. Okay, yeah, good. Trades/add. And then of course we'll be passing the stock into this. And then we can just copy and paste this as the same. Oops. Oh, somehow missed that. And then we'll do, let's just do delete too, so we have that in here. So we can really just copy this. And this will just be the ID of the stock we want. Oops. And we'll have to do, and then this one, because here we use the params. So this :ID, when we get to that route, we're going to grab that. We can grab this. What's here, the :ID is something we can grab and use as like a variable. So we will put that in here. We'll have to use the ticks. So we can use a variable here, which is the $bracket ID. So basically what we're saying is we're going to grab this ID, and that's the stock we're going to actually delete. I should change that. Delete. This was called delete one stock. Make sure that's changed. And then we will need to change this to a delete. And then again, we're going to get the response data, throw the error. Okay, so we just need to add these to here. And then delete one stock, copy this. Okay, great. So now we have, and see how quickly that is. Like now, all I have to do is like, if I want to keep adding functionality, I can just add it here one time, and then I can immediately access it anywhere I've imported stock service. So I'll stop defending using it that way, but that's how I like to do it. All right, so so now we want to make sure whatever's in the database we can actually get. So we'll do that here. So we just need to do, so we'll use the use effect again. Let me actually look at something I've got here just to make sure I'm doing this one right. Yes, okay. All right, so we've imported stock service. We're going to need to import, we will need use state for this. We will need use effects. And this comes, I don't know why these aren't automatically. Usually it just does it automatically. That's okay. Oh, maybe because I don't have them in here yet. Either way. Okay, so we're in the trade ledger. So let's get rid of this. So let's give ourselves some room. What we're going to do is set up the use state for all the stocks. So it's pretty simple, just stocks. We'll do set stocks. We're going to do equals use state. And this will just be an empty list to start, right? So we're going to, well, let me make the database function real quick using use effect, and then I'll show you. So we're going to use use effect here to do quick anonymous function. Okay, so here's where we'll use stock service, which we have access to, and we will get all stocks. And then that will go here, and then we will still need to do a dot then and get the result. I'm blanking on some of the stuff here. Right, okay, we can console log just to see what we're getting. And then here we won't need to use, I'll show you. Oh, shoot. Okay, so we're gonna get the response from the database. We're just console logging in case there's a problem, we can see it in the console. And then we will set stocks. So this is really nice, to the results, real simple. And then we can do our dot catch here, get the error. And we'll just console.log the error. case we get one. And then we will do a, oh yeah, the dependency, which we won't need any, we'll just leave this as an empty array. Because the way we're setting this up is, which of course is not working now. So there's something wrong. But the way we're setting this up is so that we will navigate to this page from another page. So like, let's say when we add a stock, we will use the, I think it's called use navigate or just navigate in order to navigate us to this component. And so this will load when it gets hit. So use effect will run one time unless you put dependencies in here to update, but the ledger is going to be a static page. It's not like we're going to have to refresh it because it's our own data. It's like it would only change if we update or delete or whatever. So if we hit like a delete button, like an on submit, it will rerun use effect once and we'll need to keep running. It won't be dependent on anything else besides like that on submit when you click the delete button. So I'll go over that when we get to that point, but let's just see. Oh, of course there's nothing because we haven't gone through. So all we've done is, let's just see here. We'll take a look at the console and we will just reload the page. And you can see here we got, these are the two stocks I just threw in the database over the week, just so we had something. We didn't have to add it before we could even do a get all. So, and you can see we've got the ID, which MongoDB automatically puts in there. Got the ticker, which we put in, the date, which we put in. Let's open, yeah. We'll have to play around with this date. So the way, because this is what I wasn't sure about last week, how date works for using the Mongoose in the model. But basically what it does is it stores it as the, what do they call this? The ISO. And that's okay. I had to look up how to format this, but we can format this for the user. It's no problem. We'll just create a function. And it's one of those functions we will end up putting in like a utils folder and file so that we can call it this kind of formatting stuff. We might need it in other pages. So it will be a reusable function or custom hook or whatever. And then the price, the shares, I did put like the shaper, tactical pattern, the ticker. These are all just made up and fake. There's nothing real about it. I just kept clicking things. And then, like I said, the ID gets automatically put in there. And then the timestamp. So this is our date put in there. And then the created at and updated at comes from that timestamp we put at the bottom of the model page. So now we need to get these. So that worked fine. And we've got two stocks here. Now we need to get this array onto the page. So we will use the map to do that. Let's for this. All right, trade ledger. Just trying to think. We're going to need CSS for this, but we could just. I'm going to put it all in its own container. We'll worry about the actual CSS after, and then we will create the table. Table head. And then is it, oh, table row, and then TH instead of TD. Okay, so table row. Ooh, these tables. Okay. And so we'll have, let's see how we had it in Figma real quick. So in Figma, we had date. Oh, no, because current portfolio didn't matter. Where's the ledger? Oh, here's ledger. Okay. Okay, so date, then buy, sell, then ticker, then the name, which will not, we don't have the Yahoo Finance API set up, so we will need to make that to create the name. So the user just has to put the ticker in, not the name. We don't have that yet, so we won't have to worry about that. Shares, price, total value we'll calculate. These again, we won't have these again because we don't have the API set up. And then shaper, tactical, and then this, we'll have to do the logic for that. But let's go back to the code. All right, so we see date. I'm going to pull this up on my other screen so I can actually see it. So I can just go off of it. Okay, so date. So is that going to be it? Okay, so date and then ticker. Buys. Yeah, I actually think ticker should go first, then buy sell. Yeah, let's do that. And then price, got the shares. We'll have the total cost. We'll have the shaper pattern if it's there. We'll have the tactical pattern, and then we should have a delete and an edit button. We'll just put them there as buttons. I don't need to actually do anything yet. But well, maybe we should have edit first, then delete. Oops. Okay, so that's our table head. All right, then we'll do the table body, which will be the map. So table head and then table body. All right, so in here, we're going to do the curly brackets to get the function. And then we're going to do stocks, which is from our use state here. So we use the getter and setter functions within the use state. So this is the setter, this is the getter. All right, so if we ever want to change what the stocks are, we use set stocks. And if we want to get all those stocks, we use stocks. So this, the response from the database, we set the stocks using this use effect, which we saw in the console is there. And then the way to access this then response is to use stocks. So we'll use stocks and we will map through this. So .map. We're going to get a stock. We can call this whatever we want, but we'll call it stock in this sense. We'll use index. We'll probably change this to be ID, but let's just use this for right now. And then here, and then here's where we are going to then, let's see if we have table body. Each row will have all the different stuff. So we'll do table row here. I don't know why that didn't want to work. Table row, and we will have a key here, which will just be index. Okay, and then within this, so now we've got the row, and then each TD, which is the data, is basically each column within that row will be the stuff, will be these things. So let me move this down so I can copy this. So TD, and this will be, we got to do curly brackets here. So it will be stock dot, and see now we have access to everything. Because the response was JSON. So now we're mapping through the array of stocks, and each stock in there is one object. And so we can use the dot notation and access the object. So although it's not showing here, but it will in a second. Date. Okay. So we're gonna do date first. Date. Okay. I'll just, so I can see up here. Ticker, buy, sell, price, shares. Cost will have to be calculated, so it's okay. Shaper, tactical, edit, delete. I think that's it. Okay, so we've got ticker. We'll just take a look at what this looks like, and then it's just buy, sell, price, shares. We're just going to put total cost in here for now, and then we'll calculate that. Just want to make sure we're getting what we need. Shaper, tactical. Okay, and then these will be, we'll just call this edit for now. And basically this will just be a link to the edit update. We'll call it like an update form, and the form will have all of the data using that ID params. The colon ID will have all that data for that individual stock. We'll preload it into a form, and then the user can change whatever they want and submit it. And then this will just be, we'll handle this on this page. So this will not be we'll use like an on click for this one to handle it. So this one will navigate us to another page. This one will happen right on the exact same page. Okay, it should work. Let's save it. Let's take a look. And there we go. Doesn't look pretty, but so we got the date, the ticker, buy or sell, price, shares, total cost, shape or pattern, tactical pattern, and then if we want to click these and edit and delete, basically. So we're gonna have to format the date. So that's not a huge deal, but we do need to do that. I'm not gonna set up the delete handler yet because I'd rather add a few more and then we can start. I don't want to delete everything we have and then have to use Postman to add. So we'll wait till we're done. But this is cool. We've got this right now. We'll make it look prettier. We should have time to do that today. So I think what we'll do, I wrote down some notes. So got that done, that done. Yeah, I think what we'll do is we'll create the add stock form. We'll format this to look good. And maybe get the delete button in there and then kind of like make it look good. Well, still got an hour and 15 minutes, so we'll see. Let's take a look at what we can get done. All right, so this one I had to look up on. Let me look at my notes here because I had no idea how to do these format things in JavaScript, so I had to look these up. So let's see. Oh, and I also know we forgot about this. I want to format this. So I'd like price to show the decimals. So 2 decimals, and then shares will just be this. But the date is really kind of the more funky one I need to do. So let me see. All right, I'm just going to copy this function in. And again, these are going to go in a function folder or utilities folder, but for now, let's just put them in here. Just keep everything on one page for right now. All right, so this is our date changer. So like I said, the date comes back in the ISO format. So we're just going to use the date constructor here, and then we're going to format it. I Googled this and looked it up. So how it all works, I honestly don't even know, but it doesn't really matter. It works. So, and I forgot to, I'll post because this is a public Git repository on GitHub. I'll put this in the description or maybe like a click thingy up in this window or something when I figure that out so people can access this. So basically all we need to do now is instead of just putting the date in here, we will put date changer and we will pass in this. Oh, wait, we need to take that back. We need to do this, and then we can take this out of here. There we go. See if that works. Voila. There we go. So that's great. And then eventually we need to figure out a way to sort this because I have a feeling, like let's say you forget to add a trade or whatever, busy day or whatever. And it's like Friday and you're like, oh man, I forgot to add that one trade from Tuesday, but I added all these other trades. Right now, the way it's set up, if you were to add that, if it's Friday and let's say you've added trades from Thursday and you want to add one on Tuesday, it's going to put it at the bottom. This isn't sorted right now from Mongo. So we'll have to figure that out. All right. One other one I did here was, I'll just grab both of these. These ones are a lot simpler to look at and understand. The date stuff, I don't know why it's so difficult. And it took me a lot of Stack Overflow Googling to figure out the date changer. These ones are much easier. So total cost is pretty simple. We're just going to pass in the price, the shares. So that's a pretty simple formula. Eventually, though, actually, no, for the ledger, this will be fine. But eventually, for the current portfolio, we'll need to solve a way to, like, let's say you buy 100 shares on, let's say we bought, today's Saturday. So let's say we bought 100 shares yesterday, and then we buy 150 shares next Wednesday, and then another 100 shares in a month. We need a way for that to actually show the total cost, like a way to do probably some sort of like filter conditional to say like if, for instance, let's say, yeah, we bought 150 more shares of CCJ next week, Cameco. It needs to be able to go through this and say, and like identify that, oh, CCJ bought for, and by the way, you might also trim, it might come into earnings. You're like, oh, I want to take a third of the position off. So I'm going to sell, 33% of what I have. It'll need to take that into account too, figure out what your total cost is. And I always like to know what like my average cost is, because that way I can put it on my charts and see, then I can like adjust the stop loss or whatever. So, but hopefully we'll get to all that more logic type stuff next week. For right now, this is pretty simple. It's just price times shares. We're going to format the number just using this. And this is pretty easy. Once you look up this intl.number format, this is pretty simple to do then. So you just set it currency, USD. So this one wasn't too bad. And then did the same thing down here with price. So if you just Google these, it's pretty easy to look at. So what we're going to do is total cost. Well, formatted price first. So down here, we'll do the same thing we did here, except we will do formatted price, and we'll just pass this in. So pretty easy there. And we can see how that changed here with the dollar sign. I forgot about that too. So that's always nice to have. And you get that by using, again, the style currency, almost like Excel, when you click like currency or, I don't know, general accounting or whatever the different things are. So it's a pretty cool formatting tool. The date one was I just don't understand why the date needs to be so complicated, but whatever. All right, in total cost, then we will do, well, that's not going to work. Jeez Louise. Okay, so total cost, and then we will pass in, price first. So stock.price, and then stock.shares. All right, very good. And this formats again to that dollar sign. So this is great. So this is all in here, all formatted, looks good. Let's go ahead and before we like actually format and put lines and flex and all that crazy stuff, I'd rather do that all at one time. Let's go ahead and add and so we can still go here, go ledger. Wow, great. And we can add a trade. So let's go ahead and create this add trade form, and then we'll come back, make it look good. And if we have time, we'll add the delete button. So trade ledger done. Dashboard I don't need. Yes. Stock service I don't need, because we're going to do, I have the add one, right? Add one stock, pass the stock in. Okay, add trade. So this is going to be a form we're going to use. So let's go over here. Now this will be, let's put in what we need here. So we're going to need use state. Oh, so that time it worked. Going to need use navigate. Oh, it is use navigate. Okay, yeah. And we're going to need the stock service. So stock service, great. Oh, that all imported very nicely. Love that. All right, so we're going to do const add trade. I don't think we'll need props, but we'll just leave it here for now in case I forget. I can always clean it up at the end. So const, now here we're going to have, we're going to call this stock state, because we're going to have an individual stock in here and not an array of stocks. And we're going to set this up to be for the database and to be able to take. So when we send the post request, it's going to take an entire object and put it into the database. So we'll call this stock state since it's an individual stock, and then we will set stock state. And then this will be use state. And we are going to set this to an object. And we need ticker. And so these are just going to be empty because, not an equal sign. These are just key value pairs for everything that we want to store in the database. So we will set these to price will set to 0. We've got date. What do we do with the date? I forget. Maybe just 0. we'll play with that. Shares will be 0. And we're going to add some validation here. So this will take a minute to do, but by cell is empty. And then shaper. And then tactical. Okay, so we got that. And then let's go ahead and create a, and then let's go ahead and do, so there's 2 types of errors we're going to have here. So, well, there's really 3 you could do, but we've got the backend. Why does it keep doing that? I'm just trying to see my screen. Okay, there we go. We've got the backend errors. So those are here, right? So these little error messages we set here, we can get those on the front end, which is great. But then we also want to have front end validation. So the point of like the backend one would be if you go to, well, let me create the form and I'll come back to it. But basically what we're going to do here is we're going to set these errors are going to be those backend errors, those kind of mongoose errors equals, and they will be just an empty list or an array, because we would call them. And I'll show you how we're going to use this. So we're going to be able to set those errors based on if, we try and, so basically you'll see here, I'll do one, before we do the front end validation, I'll do one and you'll see right here, it'll say like unable to, actually, can you see that on the screen? Yeah. I'll show you the errors we'll get here versus errors on the front end that the user can see, but we can display both kinds of errors. We'll only display the front end errors, but basically what happens is like if someone, I'll show you once we're done. It'll make more sense once we're done doing some of this, but we're just going to set up this state for that right now. And then, but before we do all the validation stuff, let's go ahead and just create the actual stuff we need here for the form. So we're going to have a form. We don't need that, but we will need, probably need some kind of class. We'll have to do all the, make it look pretty, but for now we'll do on submit, and we are just going to do a handle submit. We'll come back to that. All right. Oops, did that wrong. All right, and now we have to go through and we'll basically need a way for all these. Some of these are going to be drop down. Some will be regular, like the first one will just be input type in. So this will just be label. Oops, label. There we go. HTML4 ticker. And then it's going to need a name, which will just be ticker. We'll go ahead and just, goodness. Ticker, we'll go ahead and just give it an ID. Ticker. And then we're going to have two-way binding, which we'll go over. Actually, I guess we don't even need two-way binding because this will re-navigate us. Oh, well, we will need it to be, yeah, we want, value equal to, so here we're going to put stock state dot ticker. And then we're going to need an on change. Let me hide this for a second. So we're going to need, I don't even know what on abort does. On change, and this will be our handle change. And we're going to use, because we're using single state, meaning you could do like each one of these on their own. So this could be like const ticker, and then set ticker, and then equal to use state empty, and then like you'd have, you could do this for date. And this would just be 0. So you could do it this way, where each one of these, you set the state for each one of these individual. You wouldn't have this one big object, but then you need a different function then for every single one of those, and then you have to create a different. Then you actually have to write out the different function. I'm going to combine it all in one. It's a little bit confusing, but we'll go slow with that, hopefully we do that today. But anyway, label. So this will just be ticker. and then input, type text. And actually this stuff all goes here, not there. It's like, that seems like a lot that goes in label, but yeah, this is all going to go here to the input because this will be the input. Ticker. I'm trying to think if I'm forgetting anything. I think that's it. Okay, and we will put the errors. So we'll do something like this where like basically in JavaScript you can do, so here's the errors, the reason we set the error state. So we can do errors.ticker and then double ampersand. So if errors.ticker true, meaning there's something there, like if there is an error, like someone didn't do the thing right, then we'll create a p tag and it'll just say, then we can do errors dot ticker dot message. So I'll show you where this comes from. Did I do that right? Errors dot ticker dot message. Oh yeah, I just need this here. Oh, so basically, so then this will go back then. So basically, because we set the errors here, once we do the actual, because these will come from, so once we do, not the model, but got a lot of stuff going on here. When we do the add one stock, right, this is the response we'll get. Otherwise, we'll get the error, and this throw error gives us access to it in here. So nothing's going to show up now because we haven't made any kind of request. But should we make the request and get an error down here, it will come back and it will get set here, and we'll have access to it here. And what we have access to then is this message. That's why we're doing .price and .message. And this is all nicely, this is all built into the libraries and frameworks we're using. So you don't have to like overly worry about how it all gets here. Just know that if you set the state here, if you do everything we've done and you have a use state here, you can then access that stuff if we get something back. If not, there'll just be nothing here basically. So let's go ahead. Let's keep making these. So we're going to need a lot of these. All right, ticker. What do we need? We need one. We already got one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we're going to need price. Oh, actually, now here's where we can use this fun little thing where you take, if you click, and Mac anyway, you click here and then you click option, you can click here and here and here and here and here, and we can do price. Price, and we'll just have to change it here because this is capitalized. Okay, price, done. Date. We'll just change it here first. Date, and then we go up here, 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 here. Date. We need shares. Shares. Then actually, buy, sell, shaper. I'm going to do this real quick so I don't forget. Buy, sell, shaper, tactical. Okay. A little tedious, but needs to be done. And tactical. Tactical. Okay, got that. And then let's go ahead and I guess we'll just build out let's just go ahead and build this thing out. So we'll build let's do the on submit real quick. So what did I call it? Handle submit. So we're going to build the handle submit function. We're going to need the event. We're going to do the ePrevent.default. One word, default. Like that. There we go. And then here's where we'll make the post request. So again, we'll use the stock service. We'll do dot. We're going to say add one stock, pops right up. We are going to have to pass in the stock state, which will be updated by when we do the on changes. So stock state, great. And then we will do the dot then. We're going to get the response. Yes, which we will, I'm trying to think here. Which we'll console log this response, make sure we're getting it, I guess. And then here we will we haven't set up the navigate yet. So use navigate. So we're just going to set up a quick little thing here, which is const navigate. And it will just be, I don't know, an instance, I guess. That's what we call it in Python. But now we have access to use navigate using this variable or instance, whatever. So we can navigate, and then we can just tell where we want to go, which is to the ledger. Or we could have it take us home or whatever we want. But again, this is the great thing about these is that we can then access them either using the link or the navigate. So the navigate we obviously want here because we're not clicking anything. This will just automatically happen for us, which is great. And then we're going to do .catch, and here's where we're going to get those errors I was talking about. So I mean, I guess we can console log them too, just to be safe in case there's an issue. But here is where we can then set errors to this. So it's real, like once you get the use state stuff down, so all you really had to do then is say, okay, here, it's going to throw back the errors. We're going to set the errors here. And there could be no errors. It's always going to give us, when we console log, we'll take a look. We'll make some errors up before we do all the front end validation stuff. So let's go ahead and create, so that should be good there. Let's create the, trying to think, let me just look at my notes here. Okay, so I'm going to not do the front end validation yet. And maybe we'll come back to that next week. But I do want to get this handle change set up so that we can handle change. Again, we'll pass that in. And then because we're doing everything in one object, we're going to have a way to tell we're going to have to have a way in here, conditionals, to say like, hey, we're doing the ticker, or hey, and actually now that I'm thinking about it, let's change these real quick because this is actually a number. This is a number. Oh wait, no, this is a date, not a number. This is a number. Let's do this real quick. Text, shaper. I'm gonna make these drop downs, but for now, I just want to get something up so we can see it before we do that. So here, what we're gonna have to do, and because we set a name for everything, we can do this. So we're gonna do if E, which is our event, we're going to target that name, right? Because the event is just one big object with objects inside of it. So we're just doing E.target that name, which gives us access to this. So that's great. So if E.target.name equals, and then we say like ticker. So now we're targeting. So here's our handle change, and it's saying for any of these, if the e.target name equals, in this case, ticker, do something, right? So pretty straightforward conditional. It can get a little confusing, but it's just a standard if statement. You could use ternary operators, I guess, but I actually find it a little easier, especially when I'm doing like the live stuff, to just put it out, and then you can always go back and like clean it up. But sometimes the ternary is like a little confusing. So we're going to let a new value, and here's how we're going to update state for each one of these, equals e.target.value. So now what we're saying is if the target name equals this, then we're going to target the value in the input, right? So we set the value to here, but then the user is going to type a value in. So we're going to let that equal that. So let's say it's ticker XYZ. I don't like that. Let's use Amazon, AMZN. Then we're going to set stock state for this one piece, right? And we're going to use this previous state. So prev state, oops. And then we can use the spread operator. So it's saying whatever it was before. So we're going to take everything that was before, and I'll explain this in a second. Let me do this real quick. Let me do the e.target.name. Make this a little simpler to understand. And I'm missing, I know what I'm missing, I actually don't know. I've been trying to figure this out, why this needs this, but it does. Okay, so walk through this. So again, the target name equals this. We're going to let the new value equal the e.target, because we can't just set stock state to e.target.value. So let's say we have one form that does all of it. So I'm just trying to think to explain it piece by piece. So stock state is all these things. So what this is saying is we're just going to update the ticker piece. Everything else, we are going to take the entire previous state. So like, depending on how it runs this, it could run it in any order. But let's say for some reason it's already run everything else. So this ... this spread operator is saying, keep all this, keep all of this. So we're going to set stock state, keep all that. And then we're just going to change, because these are just key value pairs. We're going to change this key, which is ticker, right? e.target.name is ticker, : new value, which will be this. So that's it. That's all it's doing, is updating that one thing. And we're going to do that for each one of these. So, except we're going to use else ifs here now. So else if, and let me do, so I have space, because this is where our errors are going to go. So else if, and then again, we use e, and then we'll just start copying these because they're all going to be the same. I would like to keep these in order though. So what are we doing? Price next. Okay. Price, that equals that. Great. Then we're going to let new value, again, equal that target. So whatever the user types in. So maybe they bought NVIDIA at $495 before it broke out. Lucky them. Oh, shoot. What the hell? Okay. Then we will set stock state. Again, we want that previous state, whatever's in there, we want to keep. Get away, go away. Previous state, comma, and then we're just going to update this one key value pair, which is e.target essentially date, but it's name. And we're just, or price, I'm sorry. Then we're just going to update that to the new value, which is just the new price. And voila. And then we're going to put here again errors, just so don't forget. Oops. Errors, and then now we can just copy this. Real easy. I don't know how many we need, but okay, so we got ticker, price, we're going to do date, and all I should have to do, I think, yeah, just, and this is nice because we can just update date. Great. And actually, now that I think about it, we could probably just make this a function because this is literally the exact same function essentially for every one of these. So maybe that's something we'll clean up at the end. Never really thought about that till right now, but shares, because there's no reason to keep copying this, but I would like us to see something on the screen before the 2 hours is over. Buy, sell. Okay, shaper and tactical. Oh, missed it by one. Shaper. One more of these. And tactical. Moment of truth. Let's see if it shows up on the screen. Hey! Okay, great. So now we need to see if this actually works. So again, we can go back to our dashboard, can add a trade. This looks like crap, but that's okay. Dare we add ARM? I sold this at like $111 and it just kept running the other day. Price, date. We will need a way to do a max. I think you can do it right in the HTML element where you can set a max here, but I'm going to show you how you can get around front-end validation stuff in a second, but let's just, and I don't want people to be able to put Saturday and Sunday because that wouldn't make any sense. But for now, when did I sell? What day did that report? Tuesday, I think. I don't know. Put 1,000 shares. That's actually kind of, just put 100 shares. We'll put 1,000 shares. Oh, buy or sell. This should be a drop down, so we'll just type buy for right now. Oh, we don't have a button. Going to need a button. So we will go down here. We will add a button. Now buttons auto submit, so you don't really need to. If a button's within a form, it will auto submit, so it shouldn't be a big deal. But I do like to add. Where did I put that on this one? Yeah, I have seen people still do this. I know you don't need to, but I'm just going to put it here for now. And then we'll just type confirm trade. All right. We've got time. Let's make these drop downs because I don't like, well, for now, I guess we won't. Just so we can see these get added for now. Buy. Well, no, actually sell. Hey, and there we go. We got it. We should probably have something in the nav bar that allows us to navigate, but for now, that's fine. Let's throw let's buy some Apple. Actually, I haven't looked. Let's buy some Lulu. Because at least I have an idea where that stock trades. It's like 465, we'll call it, probably something around there. Let's go back. Let's say we forgot to do this that Wednesday. Let's say we bought, just buying. Let's just say we bought 50 shares of it. And let's just say it was a head in. See, this is why I want these to be drop downs, because it'd be silly to have to type all this every time. Like, what if you spelt it wrong and then you wanted to search by like, hey, what's every head and shoulders pattern I bought or whatever? And let's say you type head and shoulder instead of head and shoulders, like, why deal with all that? Let's just say it was actually, that wouldn't really make sense, would it? Let's just say it was say double bottom. I don't know. And it's a mini coil. Cool. And there it is. We got it in there. We'll have to clean this up too I want to make sure everything gets saved in the database as capital letters. So we can do that. That's not a huge deal. But now we've got this. So this is great. So now we've got the form all set up, roughly, but let's go ahead and make, let's just do something on the nav bar real quick. So this is easy to do. Where were those links I had? Page was that on? Dashboard? Oh yeah, okay. I'm actually going to copy this and put this in the nav bar to save some time. And we will add a nav bar, blah, 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 blah. All right, so now we have a nav bar. Now we can kind of move around. Great. All right. That makes that a lot easier. And then we are going to, I'm trying to think, what should we do? I wrote some notes down. We did the trade ledger. I think got time. I think best thing to do is let's build. I think best to just, let's clean this up. Let's clean up the form. And I want to go over, well, let's do this. Let's try and submit this. Ooh, why didn't we get our errors? Server responded. Oh, okay. So look, you can see here. I don't know why those don't show up. So here's where we get the errors. I don't know if you can see that on the screen. Let me see. Yeah, so you can see like trade validation failed. And it kind of goes over why it failed. But I don't know why those errors aren't showing up on here. Let's see. Let me reload this. Let's just type in some of this stuff. Just type in 700. Whatever. Confirm trade. Okay. So we get the bad request. And we get the Axios error messages. And this is fine. We want it to fail. Oh, did I? I bet I know what I did. Console logging the error. So we know we're getting the errors. That's great. And I know why. Reason undefined. Why aren't these showing though? Errors.ticker. Buy, sell is fine. Errors, let's see. I think I set, yes, that's why. I was like looking at this and saying, wow, this is a huge object. And it's because I didn't actually navigate to what we want. So this is the ERR, right? So when we type in ERR, it's the initial object. Then we need to drill down and in the response, and then in the data, and then we can see our messages. I was like, that, okay. Response.data.errors. Whoops. And you got to spell it, right? All right, now we should, and boom. So here's our errors. Great, okay. But we want to do front-end validation because we want to know the errors, but we don't want to like hit submit and then everything resets, which we could change to. We could make it like keep everyone's data, but why go through the extra step? Like I'd rather have some sort of like better path of least resistance here. So what we're going to do is, and this is a bit tedious to be honest with you, but, and it's why I think I'll make this like one big custom hook or something of that nature. Like one large custom hook and not put it in this page. But for right now, we're just going to do this. One other thing I want to show you, but what's cool is, let's say we're just going to type stuff in here. And then we just need by. See, we can still get the trait because we don't need the shaper and stuff. So that's cool. So at least we know that's working. All right, now we're going to type in our errors, which is a bit of work, but it be what it be. And so you have to, the reason we do this new value is because you can't just set like this equal to, you can't directly change state. You have to run it through a setter function, which is why we kind of create this variable here and then pass this variable down through here, which is what we're going to do with the errors too. We're just going to use a different kind of notation. So we're going to do let error message equal nothing, right? So initial like state of this is nothing. And then we're going to, oh, I know what we need though. We're going to need to set it. We're actually going to set the state here. So we're going to do form errors, set form errors equals, and we're going to use the object again, and not, but this won't be an empty object because we're going to need these. Ticker required. We can mess with these, but for now, let's just get, we're going to need a comma. Price, just say price required. And I'll show you why we need the backend stuff too. Oops. Because how easy it is to get around front-end validation. Date required. What else we got? Shares. I'm just going to make these real simple for right now. And buy, sell. Required. Okay. Okay, here, nothing. Great. So then we are going to use another new value. So I'll tell you how this works. So if there is a new value, right? Because another reason it's good to set this, because if the user hasn't typed anything in, there is no new value. So otherwise, if there is a new value, which is all this is saying, so if new value exists, if somebody types something in, then if new value dot, so for this one, this is ticker. I'm just going to say less than 1 for right now. For the sake of time, we won't overdo these. But we could do the max and min and all that stuff. But then we'll set the error message. Oops, error message will be equal to, star or letter or something, whatever. Okay, and then we could keep going. We could do else, like, oh, I'll just do it for this one so we have it set up. So else if, oops, not that. If new value dot length is greater than 5, we can do error message. Letters, something like that. Okay, so then here we're going to go down here. So that sets that. Else, we will set the error message equal to, and I'm going to show you why we have to do this twice, because and then from here, then we can set the form errors. So set form errors, and we can use the same spread operator, form errors, comma, yeah, ticker is error message, or yeah, error message. Okay, let's just give this some space here. Let's copy this. This one will be a little different because it is, instead of length, this will just be new value because it's a number, right? So you don't need the length. So if length is less than 1, we just say price must be at least $1. And we just won't do one of these. Just leave that one. We can just change this to price required. This needs to change to price. And then let's just do it one more time here. And what is this? Date. Ooh, the date one's a little strange. I did this one on another project. We'll come back to this one because this one is a little more strange to handle that one. Shares, we'll do shares. Okay. What did we use for 1 share and 1,000,000 share? We'll just do the 1 share. Share, and I'll just get rid of this. Share. All right, let's see how this looks in the front end. Oh, I know. We need to do a little funky little thing here that validates. Oh, and we also need, we're going to need this to do the validate. We need a validate form error. So here's, we're gonna go through all the form errors, and for every one of them, which this is pretty cool. I didn't know about this one before. We're gonna take the value, or set the value. Oh, shoot. And I need to add something similar to this, except it's going to be form errors. So form errors dot ticker. I'm going to show you, I changed this to be something different for this particular thing because it was annoying me. Form errors dot ticker. Oh, here we go. Okay, sweet. Okay, so we can see here now this is the front end validation, right? So what happens is if you put the proper ticker in, so let's just do the ticker one. See, this is really long. This is why it needs to go in its own folder, an own file. Okay, so the error message, so we're going to let the error message be set to nothing here, but realize that first, so let's just reload this page. First things first, we set form errors to be something. So like right here, it is a ticker required, right? And so down here, we're saying if form errors.ticker exists, then display the form errors.ticker, which it does because we're setting state to be this because, you know, the user hasn't typed anything in yet. Great. Sorry for all the back and forth. Okay, so this hasn't done anything yet. So as of right now, form state, the form error state for ticker is that original error message. Now, if the user types in a new value, so if I start typing in here, right, it's the handleChange function. So on change, if I type something, then we're going to go down into here. And if that new length is less than 1, actually, let's make this less than 2 to make this a little more obvious. We're going to display this message. Otherwise, if it's more than 5, we're going to display this message. If there's nothing in there, we're going to display this message. Now, why do we need this if we already have it in the original state? I'll show you. So, okay, so we set it to 2. So A, that is strange. Why did that not work? Hold on. New value. New value is less than 2. Why isn't that updating? I had a problem with this before one time. I'm going to do this. I'm going to close this out. I'm going to run it again. Pull this back up. Really wish that wouldn't show up. Why isn't that working? Let's see. If new value. Oh, I know why. Because I don't have the. No, that's not it. Let's see. Let's see if it's working for. See, that's what the else statement is for. The else statement is for if you delete everything, then this pops back up again, right? Because if there is no new value, so if we go back to nothing, this pops back up again. I don't know why this isn't giving us an error. Let me see. Let me do something here. Let's inspect this. Or actually, we'll go to the elements. Okay, ticker required. So that's there. Well, I don't know. This part's working, but do I just have something silly like my new value dot length? Oh, I do. This is spelled wrong. Great. That means it's spelled wrong in. Oh, I guess it doesn't matter in any of these. Okay. I was like, what in the heck is going on? Okay, so look. Nope, still not working. Really thought that was it. LENG new value dot length greater than 5. I'm going to do something. I'm going to delete this, save this. Else if new value dot LE length, or did I have it spelled right? Greater than 5. Then the error message will be I'm just going to put that for now to see. Huh. Don't know why that is not working. Let's change this to 10, see how this works. And that one's working fine. Whoops. And if we go back down, it takes us here. Let's say, let's try an else if here. Else if new value, well, I'll put greater than 10 here and we'll do less than 5. Okay, let me. Okay, so it goes away. Now if I make this, this one's working too. I don't know. I don't know what is the issue here. New value dot length greater than 5. Huh. All right, well, we'll have to come back to that. But I do want to show one thing that's interesting. So a way you could, if we just use front-end validation and not the back-end validation. So let's say ticker required. I could still get around this. Or let's say price needs to be whatever, $5. See, a user can go in here. I mean, I don't know why you would do this on your own application, but and we can change anything we want, right? So if I have like, this is more like, let's make a drop down real quick. This will be more obvious if I do a drop down, which I want to do anyway for buy sell. So let's just look up. So for buy sell here, we're going to change this to a select instead of a label. So keep that there. Just going to make this a select. I probably shouldn't have deleted all that because I kind of need it, but that's okay. And we're going to have just 2 options. Well, actually, we need to set an original option. So the value of this will be none. Value of this will be buy, and the value of this will be sell. Just say pick one, buy, sell. I don't know why I got rid of all this stuff I need though. Copy. Okay, so like let's say here I only allow someone to put buy or sell. Okay, great. And I can have an error thing here saying if it's not buy or sell, you pick one, right? Great. But before I submit, I could easily go in here and say, I can type anything I want in here. And then I could still submit this because on the front end, it still says buy. Now it's not going to let me confirm the trade here, but well, actually I'll show you. So let's say whatever, TCA, I don't even remember what everything has to be. Oh, geez. 8, whatever, a date, and then 100 shares. So we'll say buy, but see, I have this changed in the browser as hello. So if I confirm this, I still get the backend validation error. And so that's really important because you could do that because I'm going to have a couple different dropdowns. You could easily go in and change that. Again, you're doing this for yourself. So I don't know why you would do that, but I think it's a good idea to have both. You can also do like a one that kind of checks during the middleware so that like you can't mess with the browser stuff. We're not going to do that today because it really doesn't make a lot of sense to do, but I just wanted to show that you can do that if you want to. Wouldn't be super useful to do to yourself. I don't know why you would want to do that, but it is possible to do. So I think what we'll do is set up the rest of the validation stuff. And actually let's change all these to be, well, not all of them, but I would like the shaper. And I'm just going to copy this. I had made this one. Where did I put that one? Somewhere. So I don't have to retype all this. This is shaper. Just going to pop this in here because no reason to sit here and type all of this out. And I did this one for tactical. Okay, great. So now these are all drop downs with all the different types of, and what I do want to do too, I think would be cool is if it's a buy, it will only be the buy type. So like cup with handle, coil, flat base, inverse head and shoulders. But like if you had a head and shoulders top, or a lot of times like have to de-risk for whatever reason or earnings, I only want, these sell type ones to show up if someone clicks sell. I think that'd be really cool. And same with tactical. I mean, most tacticals are all buys, but there are a couple different reasons to sell into strength. They're like if something's getting toppy or get the proverbial railroad tracks, usually means something is kind of getting extended. So, okay, so those are drop downs. Let's finish the, again, I think for the sake of time, so we can move on to other stuff, I'm going to go ahead and just take, because I already did these error ones. I'm just going to grab this change handler form, this huge, massive. I think next week too, we're going to move this handle change form into its own thing, but I don't really feel like sitting here and typing all of this. It's unnecessary. See if this works. Okay. Oh, and the other thing, so it's really annoying is how, okay, so regardless of how you have your form set up, we're going to clean this up and make it look better. But as soon as you type in the thing, it moves everything, like it'll move. It's not going to move stuff when we have it formatted, but what will happen is this, because of the way this is set up right now, is being like a P tag. So if there is no form error, then there's nothing there, obviously. But if there is a form error, it creates a P tag. So a way around this is to make these one ternaries. So I do that first. So we're going to do here instead of this. So we're going to say if that's there, question mark, great. Then we're going to do this. Otherwise, oops, wrong spot. Otherwise, we will create another P tag. But this will have, and I learned this, I wrote it down because I didn't know. If you do on Mac option space, it just creates a space there for you, which is super helpful because now if we save that, see now when we type, it just disappears and there's nothing there. I mean, there is, I guess, if you do that. So there's probably another way, but I thought, because I was using like hyphens and that looks kind of silly. So let me add this to these different ones while we're here. Yeah, okay. quick. We'll just do this. That. Actually, we can just go ahead and copy this guy, copy. Just change this to that. And we'll throw this here. That. There. Change this to buy, sell. Oops. Change this to shaper. Change this to tactical. Whoa. What the heck? All right, sweet. So now we have this. I mean, it doesn't look super great. We can change all this, but let's reload. So we can say that. We can do price. We can set the date. Buy 3 shares. We can buy. And it doesn't mess up the whole form. And then, one other thing, which I think is really cool. We can do on the button. So this validate form, the reason we made this is so that basically what's happening here is it's loopy. It's using this, I always want to say instance, constructor, whatever. And it's going through all the values. So, right, everything, these objects are key values. So here's form error. This is the key, this is the value. It's going through all the values, which is all the like error messages. And if the values are all empty, then what we can do on this button, which is pretty cool. I did learn this in like some mastery section of my bootcamp, but so you can disable a button. That's kind of a common practice, I guess. But you can do, if not, validate form. So if everything, where did it go? If all the values, so this is true if all values are empty. So we want to disable the form if it's false. So if there is one value, then that's why we did the exclamation point. So if this is false, that means if there's an error message, don't allow us to submit the form. So reload this and see, you can see the form isn't clickable. How cool is that? Now, again, here's another way you can get around backend or front-end validation. I can go into inspect. I can go to the button. Again, why you would do this on your own application, I don't know. I can delete that. I can go, should have let me, oh, there we go. I can hit confirm trade, but boom, I'll still get all the kind of crazy back-end error stuff. So that's why it's important if you're making an application like not for you. It's really good practice to do this. We could do the third type of validation to make it really secure. Maybe I'll go over that next week, but I don't know the point of like actually doing it for this application. We've got the back end, we've got a front end validation. And really the point of it is, the real reason for the front end validation is so that like we just don't make mistakes. Cause like, I don't want to add in something here. And we're also going to validate this ticker using the API to make sure it's real. Cause we also need to go out and get the name of the stock and bring it back and store it in the database. So we'll have to do that. But I don't buy, let's say, stocks under $10. So like, what if I'm going to buy a stock? And granted, this isn't like an actual trading platform, but like, it's a good reminder to be like, hey, dude, you don't buy these types. Or, you can set it to be like, you never buy, like if every stock you buy has to be at least $10 and you don't spend more than, I don't know, $10,000 a trade or $100,000 a trade. I mean, you could do the math to set up like, let's say $100,000 is the max trade you make, then like 10,000 shares should be the max, right? And that's if you do a $10 stock, right? That would be 100,000. Anything over that. So like in case you hit the wrong zero, then you don't have to go back and edit it and all that. Even though in the ledger, we're going to make it so we can actually edit this stuff. So, oops. So let's just review. I kind of thought we'd get to a little more of the formatting stuff. That's okay. I think what we'll do, and I'll just write this down so I don't forget. I think next week, just so we can get all the functionality out of the way, we're going to create the edit and delete functionality. So that will mean updating something in the database, which we already have routes for. We'll just have to do it on the, let's take a look at our code here. So we've got everything on the back end ready for that in our route. So we have get one, edit one, delete one, get all, create. So we've done these two today. The update one will be pretty simple because we'll do basically a get one trade. When we click the edit button, this will run and then take us to the update form page. And what this will do, which will be nice, is pre-fill the form for us. The form we made for the add will do it for the delete. So this will pre-fill it. And then when we hit submit on that, it will do an edit trade and do a put request to the database to update that trade. Let's say we hit buy and we meant to be sell or whatever, or we type the amount of shares in wrong or date or anything. Want to make it real easy. And then this will actually run right in the ledger page. So when we click delete here, it'll just delete it. The page will automatically update. Edit will take us to another site, and then we'll do the put request. So the delete request will happen right inside of the trade ledger, which is kind of nice. Sort of like we have the add trade runs. Where's our use state? Way up here. Wait, where's our... Oh, our on submit runs the stock service. So we've got that in the backend. That's all already set up. And then we will need to do, let me close, got so many things open. We will need to do on this service thing, because we didn't make all of them. We've got the delete one stock, but we'll have to add the update one and grab one by ID so we can preload that form. So that's all pretty quick. It's basically recreating these. And then I do really want to make this look decent next week. And then hopefully part 3. So let's do, and then CSS, and then trade stats logic. And then we'll do the trading statistics logic. Now, actually next week, I won't be doing it live because I'm going to take my final JavaScript exam next week. So we won't have that, but I guess we can stop sharing. So yeah, so next week we'll do all the edit and delete functionality, or update and delete. So we'll have all the CRUD stuff done, right? Create, read, update, delete. We'll do CSS to make at least the trade ledger and the 2 forms look nice, and maybe the homepage. And then if we have time, we'll do the trade stats logic. And then in the 4th video, we'll do all the API stuff and then create the current portfolio page, hopefully, and maybe the equity curve. I don't know. So this might end up being 5 to, so maybe like 10 hours total to do this whole thing. Again, a lot of it's typing. What I might do for this week, or we won't meet next week, which will be let me look at my calendar. So Saturday, today's the 10th. So Saturday the 17th, I'm going to take my exam. So Saturday the 24th and Saturday the 2nd of March, to be the day before my birthday, we'll get back at it. So I think what I'll do is maybe move ahead and like type out some of the code. So some of it I can copy and paste in. We'll just talk about it rather than have to like type out so much of like the form validation and just the form in general. So yeah, so today it was cool. We got the add functionality in the form. We got the get all functionality in the trade. We did some of the formatting for the price. We calculated total cost. We did the formatting for the date, which is a little trickier than I thought it would be. So, and I will add the GitHub, the public GitHub repo. So if you just want to clone it, and then you can follow along or like change it however you want to. So 1 hour, 59 minutes and 50 seconds right now. So perfect timing. So appreciate it if you came and watch. If you watch after and you have any questions, I'll pop my LinkedIn in the description. You can always send me a DM there, or email me or whatever, or leave a comment if you need some help with anything. So hope everyone has a great weekend, and that was a lot of fun, and looking forward to doing it again in 2 weeks, because we will take next week off so I can take my exam. All right, thanks.